Georgia opens the season with a 31-10 win over Appalachian State, but the big news of the night, Jacob Eason out. What went for at the beginning was out for now to, from what I understand from my reporting, is probably at least 2 weeks, and it could be a more significant time than that. So we'll just see. It's a knee sprain. Georgia's confirmed that, and hopefully for Jacob, this is a minor thing. It did not look good, I have to say. I was not on that side of the field, but it looked to me like it was because of the late hit, but someone else said it wasn't because of the late hit, but that's irrelevant. And the other thing was, too, Georgia, I don't think they got a first down while Jacob was in there. If they did, they didn't really get going. So it made it look like, nothing was going to go right for Jacob. But, you can't plan life. I mean, you can try and you can sort of not do dumb things, but sometimes fate takes over and there's just nothing you can do. You just are what, you've got what you've got. And so hopefully for Jacob, this is a bump in the road, not a big deal. And I expect to see him this season, win. I don't know the answer to that. I would say that Mississippi State would be hopeful. But again, this is a little bit ignorant and, or a lot ignorant, really. And we're just going to have to see. You should go to dogpost.com for more details. I'm recording this right after the game. Things can change. I thought Jake Fromm was good at times, and then you saw him do stuff that I've seen him do during practices, at least the open practice, and you're like, please don't do that. He got bailed out once right here, throwing in a triple coverage, which wound up being a touchdown. And then I think he got DeAndre Swift. There was a throw there. It was just not a necessary throw. So he's not as gifted as Jacob Eason. I think that's pretty clear in terms of arm strength and size and so forth. What Jake Fromm's got to do a very good job of, and what I expected him to do tonight, and for the most part what he did do is jump in there, play a sport, which he's pretty good at, and take it from there. Having played sports in college and etc., you don't have to be the most gifted, but you do need to be able to execute what you need to execute. And a lot of the coaches would say to me, not being the more gifted of the group, just do what we're asking you to do. Tonight for Jake, they basically asked him to do not very much, which was 15 passes. He completed 10 of them. He threw for 143 yards. Georgia wins basically going away. I wrote in the pregame in my welcome back to football, if Georgia held them below 100 yards rushing going into the fourth quarter, it'd be a good game. That happened. Defense looked great. If Georgia was basic on special teams, which they were, in fact, I thought they were good at times. I mean, Rodrigo Blankenship, I do not have a lot of confidence in. He's going to have to earn my confidence. Of course, what I think doesn't really matter. But he kicked well. The balls were up high, etc. He didn't have a lot of challenging kicks, but punt, kick, everything on special teams looked pretty good. There were no real adventures or anything like that. So what Georgia needed to do tonight was routine. They needed to come in and routine Appalachian State. Well, they did that with their backup quarterback. So I think that this accomplished goals. You would have liked to see with Jacob in there, them go a little bit longer with him, but what can you do? Cameron Nice, the punter, with basically 44 yards, a punt. I knew Akil Crumpton was not going to fair catch that ball. He was ready to party. And then the defense was just good. Trent Thompson looked great. Richard LeCounte's out there trying to kill people. He just needs to play. He doesn't need to go crazy. Roquan, of course, looked great. Roquan really is very good. So Nick with 96, Sony with 87, DeAndre Swift with 31. And there were a couple of times when the audience here was entertained. They're allowed to be entertained. You're paying at least $50 for each of these tickets. In some cases more than that. So Swift had a nice couple of plays. Sony had a nice couple of plays. I just wish that Jacob were out there the entire time, because all due respect to Fromm, Jacob, deserves to be the one. And what's happened here is life is not fair. You get what you get sometimes. Sometimes you earn what you get, and sometimes you get what you get. And right now, what's happened with Jacob is he's getting not something he deserves, but it does happen. And for all the minutia we always talk about in sports about, next man up and all this stuff. This is going to be a new type of mental toughness that Jacob Eason will have to deal with. And I think he can do it, but we'll just see. We don't know the extent of it necessarily. I mean, I have an understanding of what's going on, but it could be worse than we initially think. So I thought tonight was great. I thought Fromm was good. Just clean up a couple of things. And I know the kid, he's a gamer. He'll be all right. But I really would have liked to have seen Eason in there a lot. That would have been, great. And then, the rest of the night was fine. It was a great atmosphere in Athens and, a very good time had by all, except for the fact that your, arguably best quarterback in the conference is out for a while. All right, Dean Legge wrapping up Georgia's 31-10 win over Appalachian State. The Bulldogs travel to South Bend next Saturday night for another night fight, this time with the Irish and Notre Dame. We'll see you there.